Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to talk about why these cars didn't sell very well, specifically in the North American market, but I think everywhere else it was the same case, just even fewer of these were sold. So Lexus has always been about the passionate pursuit of perfection, or the relentless pursuit of perfection. And since they came out in 1990 to the US market, it's always been no compromises. It's the absolute best that you can offer at the time as technology allows. If not, you create it and make it better. And so these cars had always been, they were always overlooked, and they were expensive. They weren't as fast as the competition. They were heavier. And so the chief engineer, make sure I get his name right, Yukihiko Yaguchi, he's the F program, the chief engineer for their F program, starting with the ISF. And his inspiration behind the powertrain and everything in these cars was that there's aural pleasure. You know, it's always going to be a naturally aspirated V8, no turbochargers, anything like that. And it's a car that everyone can drive fast, and it feels comfortable at its limits. And I think that those of you that own these or have driven one can agree that they're very easy to drive fast. Now, the sacrifice behind that is it's not as fast as the competition. And if you have a very expensive torque vectoring differential that, you know, does some cool stuff to make sure it stays safe, so be it. Well, if you see the price to replace some of these, the retail price for the TVD differential is like $36,000. It's a very expensive differential. Of course, that's not what Lexus costs, what it costs Lexus to build it and add it to the car, but it does add to the cost. It also adds to the weight because it's complex, it's big, it's bulky, it weighs a couple hundred pounds. It's a very, very interesting differential. But the point behind that is it adds to the cost of this vehicle. So if you're looking at the competition, when this car was new, it was nearly $90,000. So in today's money, that's $120,000, $130,000. And if you're looking at that kind of price range, you're looking at the German competition as well. A lot of these cars were leased. That's typically how a lot of the German cars start their life too. And so you own it for a couple years, you go get another one, something like that. And you're not worried about the longevity, the drivability, or well, the reliability, because it's a lease, it's not your problem. And these cars, they were slower, heavier, and they're on paper, they just weren't as attractive to the North American market, to American buyers. They wanted the fastest 0 to 60, the fastest quarter miles, and the engineer for this car, he was not about that. It's about driving experience. And those of you that have driven these can agree with me that these cars, it's pretty rare for a Japanese car, and when I say this, they have a soul. And you know, like an Italian car, they speak back to you. You can really feel kind of what's going on and understand it. Whereas like an example of like a car that doesn't have a soul, which I've driven, is the R35 GTR. And so that car, it's fast, but it does everything for you. It doesn't feel like you have to work for the reward. And so this car, I think, is a good balance of that, where you have to work for it, but it's also very rewarding. And it's not the fastest. It doesn't handle the best. It weighs 4,000 pounds. You know, it's a heavy car, but it does everything very well. And you never feel like at its limit that you're gonna push it too far and, you know, end up over a canyon or something like that. It's very happy to be driven hard, driven fast, and it rewards you with a fantastic driving experience. And so I think that's part of the reason that these didn't sell well, is because it's something that had to be driven to be appreciated. And you know, some of these cars, if you bought them new, you could go to the Lexus driving experience, the Lexus driving school, go drive them at their limits, and you have a better appreciation for them. And I think that, you know, maybe that was a marketing mix-up. Maybe you should have invited people to come drive these cars first, and then, you know, oh, at the end, hey, we have a special on these, come buy these, and you know, you can own what you just drove. That may have been a better way, but you know, I'm not a marketing guru. You know, I'm just a car guy. So the engineer, he basically said he wanted a car that makes everybody feel like they're a better driver. And this car, I think, delivers in that regard. It's just, it wasn't a numbers car, and so therefore it sold poorly. You know, in the future, I hope that Lexus continues to produce cars with this engine. You know, this is March of 2025. We know that the RCF is ending production for 2025, which means they're probably done. I think they've already made the last 100 models. They have a final edition. So I think that after those are done, then what's left is the IS500F Sport and the LC500, which are rumored to have been going away as well. Haven't got official confirmation yet, but we know that it's coming. And you know, when you're selling a couple hundred cars a year for like the LC500, with the writing on the wall, it's kind of sad to see how these cars are going to go away. But it also means that if you have the means right now, go get one, go snatch one up, be it an IS500F Sport, an LC500 RCF, or if you can find one, a GS-F. You know, these are at their newest, they're already 5 years old, so they're gonna get increasingly more difficult to find a clean title, no accident one, as you've heard me talk in the past, but they are out there. So anyway, great topic for conversation. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. Have you guys driven this car or the RCF or the IS500 or LC500? I'm curious to see your opinions on getting behind the wheel of one of these, how they make you feel. Do you feel like you can drive them and you have a lot of driving confidence? Is that something that, you know, the engineer talked about when he was interviewed? Is that something that you feel like he delivered on? So let me know in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.